This is the only polystyrene drawing project I completed this month. This is the third Inca polystyrene drawing project. And when I started that project during the mid to late months of 2024, I recall I started with outlining this shape for the hair using a default blue ultrafine point Sharpie marker. And then I did her jaw, followed by her neck, and then her shoulders, while keeping attention to essentially the shoulder straps, the upper straps of her top wrappings. And then I started outlining and drawing the winged scarab, which I got online after some effort, but I don't recall it being too much effort. And then I outlined the front of her bottom wrappings, and by that point, I had started outlining her arms. And by that point, I was doing the body. The main difference between the second Anka polystyrene drawing project and the third Anka polystyrene drawing project is that for the third Anka polystyrene drawing project, I had it be based less on... I had her body be less based on the polystyrene block itself, so that I could give her a more feminine looking body. And I did it this way so that it can kind of continue in an effort to try and make it 3D. Even though, to create the illusion of being 3D, even though each side of the drawing project is 2D. At this point, I'm thinking it's more likely that the yellow bands are hair that's been very intentionally dyed yellow. This is another difference between the second Anka polystyrene drawing project and the third Anka polystyrene drawing project. Yeah, this time around, I based the ears on how they would look from a top-down view, basically having this top side be its own side rather than a continuation of the front side effectively. And me having the top side be a continuation of the front side for the second Anka polystyrene drawing project ultimately led to the ears being 2D rather than these ears being 3D for the third Anka polystyrene drawing project. Doing these wrapping details for the top and bottom wrappings for this project was pretty time consuming. And for the back of the top wrappings, I think I unintentionally made those wrapping details look more like mosaic tiling rather than like actual wrappings, wrapped fabric, which I then later on tried to correct with some limited success. For the third Anka polystyrene drawing project, I think I did much better on her tail than I did for the two previous Anka polystyrene drawing projects. This is also my best attempt so far on her arms. Though there's still room for improvement. I'm pretty confident this is my best attempt so far on her winged scarab clothing ornament, though there is considerable blending, which was primarily caused by trying to do the erasing kind of blending for little bits of bleeding into that occurred when I tried to color in all these little sections that were made after I outlined and then did the finer details for the wings of the winged scarab. I then took used an ultrafine point marker of, I believe, a hue of blue that was one hue lighter than default blue. Filling in all those little sections was also time consuming. As for her Ankh amulet with the Eye of Horus in the middle piece, I felt I did this relatively early on into the project, and I ended up making the bottom half of the amulet, the legs, a little too thick for my liking. I feel for the top half, this is my best attempt, but for the bottom half, my previous attempt, the one I did for the second Anka polystyrene drawing project, was my best attempt, and in the future when I do a fourth Anka polystyrene drawing project, I'm going to try to recreate what I did for the second Anka polystyrene drawing project in terms of the bottom half of her amulet. This is my best attempt so far on her face, though perhaps there's still a little more room for improvement. Hopefully in the future I can avoid these little messes caused by maybe being a little too overzealous when it came to trying to do the erasing kind of blending for little bits of overbleed into unintended areas. I was just trying to do my best on the project, but perhaps going forward, maybe I'll be a little less overzealous when it comes to that.